Hey, good evening everyone. Welcome to UD7 once again. Hey Mythical, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm still in the dark as to exactly what we're going to be playing today. I know we're roughly going to be in the area of Neo Turf Masters, Trackmania, and Mega Man, but we have, as the schedule says on Speed Gaming, we have a twist.
Yeah, all the categories, all the rules have changed for those three games, and yeah, part of the fun for me is to keep you in the dark, so we can do the guesswork and be like, oh, surprise! But the first game is going to be Neo Turf Master, and yeah, hit me with your wildest guess, but that should not be too big of a surprise, I say.
Wildest guess would be um, you limit the clubs that you can use, like only the sandwich. Like putter only would be there's a couple impossible holes. Uh, so like maybe only the sandwich. Maybe there's like I don't know. Can you drive to some of those par threes over the void with a sandwich? Probably not. Maybe with the Brazilian golfer and a perfect shot. I don't know. But probably I think we're going to be playing a different course.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Your Turf Master on the clear cards here is played on the Japanese course only, and with the player choice up to the players. So we have a couple of parameters we can play around. Limiting only to certain clubs would be actually super cool as a concept, but pretty hard to enforce. And if we do sandwich and putter only, I think there are a couple of holes that are almost impossible. Um, but it's going to be pretty fun to see the players' reaction. Allknocker on stream today as well, pretty experienced with the game, PB of 1409, nothing to be ashamed of, even though the world record is now soon to be 1130 apparently.
Yeah, it's crazy the times that people have been getting pushing this game. I remember, when I got my time of around 13 minutes, it was pretty up there. Um, but it's been pushed lower both by Super Link God, Mohawk, Sack, Faraziel. They've all been putting in a lot of work, but then a number of people have been using the information that they've gained and have been applying it. And the scores of people who have over 200 on the leaderboards there's a lot of them, and the people who are over 200 can get over 200 by a lot. So there's going to be a lot of double arrows on these player cards. Metalo has one, Alnakur has one, but Metalo has a fantastic Mega Man time. Has I think a minute better than anyone else in Mega Man. Yes, still over a minute compared to Devil Tifa, who is in second. So is an absolute beast at Mega Man, and I think even if we're going to be doing some weird category, I still give a huge advantage to Metalo in that game.
Yeah, I don't know if there is anything we can add to the game or to the category or remove from the game or the category that would put Milo in a rough spot compared to the others. It's going to be cool, but first it's going to be Neo Turf Master, and we weren't as creative as you actually. I'm super impressed with the idea of limiting the clubs to only a certain set or just a single. It's going to be the American course, the USA course, with only the American golfer. So
Oh, I see.
it's
As a nod to our English-speaking restream here, perhaps.
actually it is the course all the commentators are the least familiar with, and we apply that logic supposing that if we are not too familiar with the course, the players maybe aren't as well. So they will have to select the young hero here, which is your Super Mario from Mario Brothers 2. Your average guy that can do everything well, but not perfectly, but not the worst. Usually it's a bad sign in a speedrun. You want someone that's very specialized in the skill that you want to play on the most, and the young hero is not that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how hard it is to hit shots with the young hero if you're used to playing as either the shot maker or the putt master. Having I don't know what it is. It's just something about the balance between your power and your accuracy and your skill actually makes it surprisingly difficult to land accurate shots without much of the benefit of having like a lot of power or great putting or anything. So he's kind of good at nothing and a little bit bad at something. So he's generally not the best pick, but has the home field advantage here on this course. I really like playing this game. It was one of my favorites. It was the first one I dove into of the bunch. And I still have not actually played any of the other courses, so this will be a total surprise for me.
They're very, very similar, actually. There's no crazy way to get creative on a golf course. That said, if you haven't played the hidden course, because if you get a perfect place on all four, if you get first on all the four courses, you can unlock the Scotland, which is totally unbeatable, almost. It's crazy, but yeah, it's going to be actually fairly doable for everyone if you've played enough of the Japanese course. The 18 holes from the USA aren't too crazy. You are near the Grand Canyon, which is probably the worst place to play golf, but it's going to allow the game to put us on those crazy cliffs. We are going to pretend we are on the edge of the Grand Canyon, or maybe golfing and swinging above the Grand Canyon at some places. It's going to be pretty neat.
I just noticed like the arrow like was pointing to Arizona, and I was like trying to think of any famous golf courses in Arizona, and I was racking my brain a little bit. I'm not exactly a golf pro, but didn't think there was any major PGA events down there. But no, apparently the Grand Canyon. This is, I guess, if your ball goes out of bounds, it goes out of bounds.
You have to take the trek all the way down Grand Canyon back to the top. It's an interesting concept, playing golf right next to the Grand Canyon. I hope not too many balls will be lost in the process here. The players' reaction are actually pretty okay with the category. Super hyped to see that we are keeping the idea of playing the correct character on the correct course. Because it's super important and doesn't change anything at all. Obviously, you have no field bonus from playing the young hero here, and I don't know how the players are going to react, because if you play a new course with the character you're used to, usually the Japanese guy, it's going to be pretty doable because you are so accurate with your putting and your driving that it's okay, but playing a totally different character can be off-putting.
Yeah, if you were to change just one thing, you could probably use your knowledge of the other to carry you through, but changing both, I agree, we could see some people hitting some pretty awkward shots, getting stuck in the rough or heavy rough and having to try to do some more mental calculations as to like how hard to hit it, and then having to then adjust to the new speed of the meter moving at that. Like there's every time you are hitting a shot that you're not well practiced at, which is going to be every shot in this case, there are so many little mental checks and calculations you have to do before you hit your shot, and that meter starts moving, and if you don't hit your shot, then you have to wait for it to go all the way back down and then all the way back up, so you lose time on every shot. And so there's this pressure to figure all these new factors out and hit that shot on the first try. And I wonder how often we'll see players opt to let that meter drop and then come back and use that extra time to really nail their shot.
So far, everybody is doing awesome, actually. Oh no, Onlooker not able to put correctly, getting a par here. They were the closest to the pin, getting on the green, and that's actually pretty hard to nail exactly the putting when you're super close. Like the third and the fourth stick are pretty hard to hit on the young hero here. So I'm not too surprised to have the players try to adapt to it. Taker going for some hook shots and actually bouncing on the bunker here. Pretty nice. KTH on two shots gets it to the green first. With a nice putt, they're going to get a birdie, and Taker is going for the par.
You have to be pretty comfortable with the game to pull out a hook shot like that in this kind of situation. They're very tricky to hit. It's pretty unclear how far to the side you need to aim. And that was cool that he did that because there were some trees in the way and they were hitting 180 yards to the green. So whatever club you're going to use, it's not going to put the ball up very high, and that means it's very likely that you're going to hit some of those trees. So Taker, to be able to spot that and then hit the appropriate shot to get around it, actually quite impressive. We got KTH who's just barely going to be a little bit short, going to tap it in here for a par, I believe that is. Yes. So it looks like Taker is off to the early lead by just a little bit here.
Getting an unlucky contest here. Hopefully they don't nail it. KTH getting the same one, so losing a little bit of time. Middle and Olnecker skipped net. It's random whether you have that contest or not. It's decided depending on the frame at which you select the map, so it's very tricky or nor impossible to manipulate. So Taker will try to drive as cleanly through that very long course. The Japanese set of holes don't have such a long distance between the start and the end.
Getting caught in that tree means he just got passed by Olnecker and almost Medelo, who just about tapped it in there. Taker also just barely. Everyone is just circling the cup here, but it looks like Medelo is going to be the first one in, followed by Taker, then KTH. No, not KTH, Olnecker, and now take KTH rather. Having the meter go all the way to the top and then all the way to the bottom, hitting downhill.
Really?
Yep, exactly.
Right, lots of bunkers here with a hill in the middle. Those maps was always a bit tricky, but the young hero drives far enough so all the players can lob above the hill directly, landing on the green. Here is Medalo, 3 yards away from the pin. That's pretty hard to hit, but the young hero has actually a putter bar. It looks like the Japanese and the German guy, actually. I don't know how many ticks there are in difference, but not much.
Yeah, I can see the difference being a Japanese player myself, but it's good. It's definitely like the Japanese guy has like too many. It's like not useful really. So this is totally fine in terms of putting. KTH driving to the green here. Medelo had a bit of trouble, or maybe it was KTH who on the previous hole drove. Didn't think they could get over the hill, so they tried to lay it up. Ended up in the rough on the other side of it, and so had to recover here. On the current Taker driving to the green on pretty much. Not quite frame for frame, about a second behind is on the curve. Medelo with a somewhat short putt, but it has a bit of finesse to it up this hill, is going to be able to drain that. And look at the synchronization we have between these players.
Yeah, 3 players are exactly at the same screen here, and KTH is trailing behind just a little bit, 200 yards away from the hole. Interesting map here with a left turn in the middle. Thankfully, actually, the American golfer doesn't drive too long here and gets exactly in the middle of that turn, which is pretty convenient. Taker will have to go against the grain and the slope here. Pretty difficult putt. Has to go for an extra shot. And Olnecker does the exact same thing, meaning Medelo is actually passing everyone by 1 shot.
Yeah, he actually had a hole placement that was not on either of these hills. It was right in the middle, so it was a very easy tap-in for Medelo compared to the others. They both missed that difficult putt, and that's what allowed him to pull ahead here. It looks like he is going to lay it up a little bit here, but there is... I don't know how they managed to get a lawnmower across these rivers in the abyss and to mow the green here. And get it kept, but apparently they rode it over, or maybe they brought one of those.
Nice.
Oh, wow, nice shot. I was thinking about telling the story about when I got to Fougères for the finals last season, and you were telling me about the castle that they have to keep up the grass on the other side of a moat in a castle, so they just release goats out on the side. And they take care of it, so maybe there's similar animals on boats being deployed to keep this ridiculous American golf course.
How even the green would be if it was mowed only by goats eating the grass away. Not very I guess. Taker goes too far lands in the fairway past the green here. Medelo is aiming for a difficult putt but gets it. So Taker is one putt away. Onlooker is doing his best to catch up, and KTH is trailing behind once again, one entire hole behind everyone else now.
That was a really good shot by KTH, though. That's the kind of thing he needs to get back in this. He doesn't have any slopes in his way, no grain, able to just hit a very straight, clean shot on what looked like a pretty difficult green for a lot of other players. Driving now. On the 10th is Taker, just half a shot behind Medelo Alnacour, getting through the scorecard that pops up after the front 9. It looks like Medelo is going to be the first one to make a putt. His hole is located on a slope, so this is, if you miss it, that ball is going to go. So not exactly a free tap-in. He's going to let this meter go all the way up and all the way down because he is at that worst spot on the meter where it is very hard to react to when your shot starts without hitting it too early or too late. So it took a bit of a time loss to increase the accuracy of that putt, and he does knock it in.
Onlooker had the worst putt possible on that green here, all the way across the big hill on the top of the green here. I had to take an extra turn. Taker and Medelo are neck to neck here. Taker is one shot ahead, and he's going to aim for the green here. And this map seems to be fairly okay. No big gaps or hills or anything that are very hard to manage. But we are only at the hole 11 and the difficulty curves.
Oh no!
Alnacour
is the longest drive winner for hole number 11, so he's gonna get an extra shot here. He's gonna have everyone congratulate him. He's gonna take time out of his game to raise his arms and celebrate, and then hit the ball out of bounds. Thanks to these trees, actually, there's not a lot going on in this hole, but there is this dog leg with some trees, so hitting it around that corner means you need to put it over those trees or through them somehow, but they're so dense, I don't think that's a thing, and this is not going well for Alnacour or Taker, both of them 2 shots out of bounds now.
Look at that crazy course here. There's a big, this is not Grand Canyon. Those are the Niagara Falls or something. But Medelo got the shot on the first try here. It took Taker 2 to get on the green. And they're ahead now by quite a bit. The wind seems to be feeling nice for them, so they're not losing too much time to the RNG. One other way to change the category would have been to increase or worsen the RNG by going into the console menu and put it in the most insane difficulty. The Neo Geo has 4 difficulty settings. Usually the arcade cabinets are played on the middle one, the second level, but the winds are getting crazy in the harder difficulties.
Taker had a 2-mile-an-hour wind blowing him into that bunker. Wasn't quite able to get it around, but shipping out of it almost right into the hole rather. Instead, he's onto the green with a pretty short putt to tap it in. The green was pushing it too hard. Just a little bit too much speed on that ball. Lipped out on the other side. He does tap it in afterwards for a bogey. Is trailing Medelo by almost a full hole now, I'm pretty sure, unless he's ahead and just finished the 14th. But I think he's going into it. Yeah, he is. So Medelo in the lead by almost a hole here, barely, not quite tapping it in. KTH fallen back quite a ways after some trouble. It does knock it onto the heavy rough here on this ridiculous 12th hole. And Alnacour, who struggled on the 11th, is now on the 13th, about 1 hole back, as Taker completely misses a shot out of the bunker.
That's pretty rare to see the players actually miss the wow, again, the height of the shot. Usually the players can aim that blue bar pretty accurately, but it's maybe because it's not the player they're used to. The meter goes a bit slower than usual. Oh wow,
no way!
Alnacour gets it.
I love when you get the off the green, you get this ridiculous holding his head, but then also I don't know how that happened. It just happened, I guess.
Yeah, it's those sprites, those pictures are pretty great. I don't remember who, but track down the players that has the ridiculous German player's head as an emoticon, an emote on Twitch. It's pretty golden.
Yeah, the ending screen with your character like looking wistfully into the sky is is pretty good. I think I don't know if we'll see any of that before the players move on to the next one. Metalo putting off of the green way too hard, rocketing past the hole. We got a birdie for Alniker and a par for KTH. They're probably going to have trouble catching Metalo, though. If he keeps putting like this, then maybe they got a chance here. Putting into the 16th, Taker about to finish the 15th. And Alniker catching up to Taker, actually driving to the 15th here. Both of them putting on this 15th green, and KTH still quite a ways back as Metalo finishes the 16th, is now a full hole ahead of both Taker and Alniker.
The players are very consistent at the game, though, even though they don't know the character or the track. They're already at 12 minutes 30 on hole 17 for Metalo and hole 14 for KTH, those two being fourth and first. Metalo has to sneak his way around the hill here and try not to get out of bound. The map seems to be tricky and the fairway is pretty narrow. And they're navigating it pretty well. 200 yards away, the third iron here is a 200-yard drive. Pretty nice. Gets the meter exactly on 100 and lands on the green, obviously.
What the hell is this hole? I just realized it is a 728-yard par 5. He just hit 3 shots over 200 yards to get to the green. That's an epic. That is an epic par 5. Handled very well by Metalo. Did need to tap it in there at the end, but like I feel like it's a par 6 at that point. Like I've never seen anything over 500. So. Pretty crazy stuff. Metalo, incredibly comfortable out on the green, even on unfamiliar terrain, is like hitting hook shots and stuff around the dog legs perfectly, is now on the 18th, has 1 putt left with no grain and no slopes. So looking like this is going to be it for Metalo. 1350 is going to be the time.
And obviously being the fastest and your final time is what matters. Whatever your ranking on the golfing competition, you can be 32nd or first, it doesn't matter at all. Although the fastest you are, usually it means you landed a lot of birdies and par, and usually you have a very good rank at the end. Metalo here finishes second in the game, which is pretty good, but still one extra place to catch up if they want to unlock the Scotland.
The achievement for last week was to get first place on the Japan course, and it was one of the least achieved achievements that week. It was up there with like Deathless Mega Man and 100 Deaths VVVV, and it was actually pretty difficult to get 18 holes in a row without any sort of disastrous thing like we're kind of seeing from Alniker here, hitting it into the water, taking that extra stroke penalty. 88 yards out of the water, not quite. If he had got like a skim on the water or something, that would have just barely made it. But hitting a sand wedge is going to knock the ball way too high in the air for that to happen, I guess. So has a ridiculous slope between him and the green. It looks like it's mostly straight. The green is on a sort of diagonal. So this is a difficult shot. Oh, just slips out.
So close. Each time you touch the edge of the hole, it feels like something has been stolen off you. KTH going for the final shot here, weighing his options, goes for the 200 yards first iron here. It lands on the rough, but can go for the putt, and 50% should do it. They're going to aim a little bit short and go for a final putt to finish hole 17, par 5. Huge one. The Japan course is all about putting and being precise. Some others are more about driving, and obviously on those maps, playing as the Brazilian player, the power golfer, would save a lot of time. One entire or even maybe 2 entire shots, which is the biggest time save you can make in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm guessing that eventually the world record will require like some ridiculous 200-yard, shot that goes directly into the hole and is an eagle. I don't. I mean, I guess there's probably possible to get an albatross at some point, but eventually it just saves so much time. It's like 15 seconds in some cases, if you can pull it off. So I don't know if the speedrun will start to try to like hit incredibly precise series of shots to make those kinds of things happen. But right now, the world record is just playing incredibly solid and smart in terms of minimizing how the ball rolls and the sort of little things that can eat up more time than you'd think. But eventually, if people get serious enough, maybe that is the way things will go. We can take a look at the leaderboard now. It looks like it was Class among everyone competing today who came out on top, Echikur in second, and then Midelo, who we had on stream finishing in third.
Very close times between the players. Class gets a 20-second lead, which is not much in the game. It's about two shots overall, showing that either they're very talented at Neo Turf Master overall, or they knew either the course or maybe how to play with the a young hero. I know some players actually play with the American golfer for the speedrun in the Japan set of holes. So maybe they knew something the other didn't. Very close between Andy Shepard, Quick Fireman, and Sack as well. Lots of players under 15 minutes. Little Mai, Olnuker, Molgamis, and Psychos under 16. Sugitoast and Devil Tifa trailing behind, which is unusual. The past few tourneys we had on Speed Gaming here, Sugitoast and Devil Tifa were deep down the top three, bolted to those places all the time. And now seeing them trail behind, maybe that leaves a shot for the other players to take the top three here.
That's right. It seems like they have been unable to handle the curveball here that we've thrown them in, both a new course and a new player. We're certainly not done yet. We got 2 more games left with 2 more twists. Devil Tifa is likely going to be able to handle whatever we throw at them in terms of Mega Man. They are currently second place on the leaderboard. Only second because Metalo is some kind of mega god, apparently. He's just completely untouchable at the top of the leaderboard. But after Metalo, it is Devil Tifa, and has previous experience in Mega Man 2 in one of the previous seasons for Ultime Decathlon, and just shot up the leaderboard on Mega Man. So we may see Devil Tifa start to come back and challenge from what looks like the grave at this point. Is 30 points back from Class currently. So a pretty big distance to cover, but this is a pretty wacky thing we're doing here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some really big swings.
Yeah, I don't think the point differences mean too much with the categories we are going to play. Next up is going to be Trackmania 2 as the players finish the Neo Turf Masters. Some players are trailing behind. Bobdo in the chat says yesterday they did a blind race on the course, USA holds, and took them about 16 minutes. So I think Class go for 13, 18. Either blind or a bit practice is still insane. So congrats to them. What's going to happen on Trackmania 2? What's your guess, Mythical?
Man, the potential for Trackmania wasn't. I mean, you listed as an example last time, like no turning left. So there's like
yes,
once that's on the table, there's nothing I could possibly say that will really match that in terms of craziness. Trackmania is a crazy game. You could have had someone make a map that has a loop-to-loop into a jump across the entire map with 5 different ways to land and 5 different ways to continue, and 4 of them are dead ends. Like, the sky's the limit in this game. But there are a bunch of other courses that come standard with the game in the white, the red, the black flags. There's other flags that represent more courses, so that's a thing that seems the most likely to me. I'm trying to find something that was like somewhere between, a little spicier than that, but not quite as insane. And I'm not sure. Like, be like, you have to play as the Brazilian car. Like, it's not gonna really. It's not what I'm looking for.
There are parameters we can play around. We can change the camera. We can change the color of the car. Obviously, only drive backwards or only turn left or stuff like that. But I'm not sure if like all the tracks are doable in this way. One of the craziest and most silliest idea we've ever had, I think, was to enforce players to only get the bronze or silver medal on all tracks. So you cannot go too fast, and the challenge is to go as closely as possible to the medal. And if you pass it, you're out. So it's not going to be the case either. As we can see a little bit of many here, the very arcadey game, car game. Very well known at that point. It's been seen on the esports scene. It's in speedrun. It's pretty fun. As a multiplayer game, very easy to dive into it. So a lot of players are playing UD7 as well. Usually, all the tracks you see here are from the green, but that's not the process we are going to follow.
I really like that silver and bronze medal idea, though. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog strats, where you're trying to not go over in the real time. You're trying to not go over certain thresholds because you earn too many points, and then the countdown on the points is longer than if you had just waited. So, one of very few cases in speedrunning where you have to go slow to go fast, but that would be one of them. So what color? Where are we going? Are we custom maps, or are we just blue?
Regular maps, but not blue, not red, not white, but all of them. 5 first track from the white categories, 5 first from the blues, and 5 first from the red. Meaning that you don't have to unlock anything. There's no crazy goal, but you have to adjust to maps you don't know. So 15 maps, so you should be able to get the same feel as the green category, but the players don't know all the tracks, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see how well they're adjusting to the traps. And apparently, Onlooker is having some troubles here.
Yeah, this is. I don't think the race has started. I think this is some last minute practice. Trying to scout out as many tracks as they can before the race starts in earnest is my interpretation of what we're seeing right now. There's some loading screens and stuff, but maybe?
Yeah, the maps have been announced, and the players maybe are trying to scout a little bit, but you're not going to have the time nor to practice or to do anything. Onlooker has medals for all those maps, so maybe they've been playing a little bit around the idea of playing some other tracks.
Alright, yeah, I was a little paranoid that the race had started. No, it's fine. Everyone is indeed scouting out. Racing a game like Trackmania, in this case, like the tracks you can sometimes be following some pretty specific instructions as like I'm gonna brake here, I turn this way in this amount. Your approach to racing a track blind is quite different than going for the absolute fastest time that you can, which is also different than racing a track that you know very well. So you have almost a totally different approach to how you take turns and corners and stuff. Like you'll see players braking. I hope you'll see players braking a lot more going into turns. Way more than they need to, just because it is much better to, not have the most speed that you could coming out of a turn compared to crashing into the wall, flipping over it, dropping out somewhere on the track, and you can't get back up. It's a forced reset or something. So I think we're going to see some really safe and careful driving, and that is not the easiest thing to do in this game. It's so easy to accelerate and go very fast. It's very easy to drift around a corner and come out with a ton of speed, and so I think players will kind of be fighting against themselves to remain disciplined here.
yeah, you do not want to slow down in Trackmania. The game's really pushes you to keep on going as fast as possible. So we'll see what the players elect to do here. The whites are very easy. The blues are doable but have some silliness to them, and the red tracks are pretty crazy and pretty creative. So maybe the 5 of each maps where they are multi-lap are going to get some players stuck. I hope for not too long. The players are getting ready and are trying out actually the auto splitter, because you want to remove the loads, and since it's not the same category, some players are worried it's not going to work, but it's getting there. Players are soon to start. What kind of time are we expecting? If you don't know the tracks, you're not going to lose too much time, except if you are going to reset, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, okay. There's a good chance that you totally mess up, you wipe out, you have to reset or something. So I won't be surprised if there's like a 30-second time loss there. But driving really safe, you could probably get within 5-8 seconds on any given track. The multi-lap tracks, for shorter ones, you could get within 3 or 4. Just not being so aggressive on turns, letting off the gas, feathering the gas around corners, things like that. It really is in the grand scheme of things a pretty small time difference. All the crazy optimizations, never letting go of the gas unless you absolutely need to. You're really just fighting for a second or two in many situations. So, giving up that second or two so that you can actually complete the course, you can actually come out pretty good if you know what you're doing. It looks like Taker getting a green medal on the first course is off to a great start.
Yeah, that doesn't lie. That means they know what's happening. If they haven't locked the green medal, they're not blind. It's very unlikely to unlock those the outer time on your first go. They're very optimized, and they're very hard to get on the wide courses because there are very few places where you can actually save time. Very nice drift here by Taker, saving a little bit of time, and very short tracks, no problem for them. Nobody is actually struggling. Allnuker, KTH, Metallow are making good progress. And Taker on the third track here. Once again, the whites are really the tutorial. This one is pretty fun. You have like big flags and you have to slow down quite a lot or you're going to collide into it. And yeah, that's it. Just knowing the course makes it all.
This was my first green medal, actually. I skipped silver and went straight to green just because I just went as fast as possible and then hit the wall, and then went the tiniest little bit slower and then hit the wall, and then went a little bit slower and then didn't hit the wall, and boom, perfect, green medal, good. So not really the approach you want to take in this race today. You'd only get the one shot, so it is definitely going to see some more measured approaches, some more braking going into that big jump. Taker not getting killed on the weird little donut that sticks out in the middle of the track. There's a couple of times you'll see that sort of piece of track appear, and if you're not ready for it, if you're coming out of it with too much speed and you don't see far enough ahead, because it can be just like a dot until it's too late, you can absolutely just totally wreck your car on something like that.
The first multi-lap track here is just a giant circle of dirt, and you have to optimize your turns as much as possible, going on the bank turns quite high on them, so you're not killing at all your momentum while you're turning. The dirt has very low friction. You're going to drift quite a lot before actually turning, so you have to be expecting that, and start turning super early and super wide, so you keep all your momentum going at an angle like that. Taker does that perfectly, actually saving a lot of time compared to the bronze medal they're comparing against. doesn't matter at all. And at the end of the track, they're going to go into the menu and move on to the blue tracks. We're skipping green as the player know those tracks very well.
Lapping the bronze car at the end, nice job. And pretty strong menuing there from Taker, actually. I was wondering if people were going to get caught up, just hitting the button the way they always do and then accidentally start loading into the next track. That would be, it would be a time loss real time, but we are looking at just in-game time without loads, so the loading screen would not be a factor. But now we're into some tracks I haven't seen yet. I've done the white and the green, but not blue or red, so this is going to be a little bit interesting and fun for me to watch, even if I will have a hard time evaluating just how well everyone is doing on this track. Certainly Taker hasn't crashed yet, so he gets an A+ from me.
The first one here is very similar to B. Which one is it?
9.
9, yeah, with the mix of dirt and concrete, and you have a lot of jumps. The game starts adding those very, very frequently. In later tracks, dropping and jumping correctly, usually with a turn to the left or the right in the middle of your jump, so you are actually drifting when you land, and you save a little bit more time. But when you don't know exactly where you're going, because the tracks are not super clear, that's part of the fun in Trackmania, going exploring. There is even an entire category of tracks called RPG, where you don't know at all what the track is like. It's a mix and match of weird blocks, and you have to go and explore, try to figure out how to get on top of some platforms and stuff like that. And blue tracks certainly have that kind of vibe. There are a lot of things happening, and you have to figure out a little bit where to go. Taker not surprised by that loop here, and this is like A1 with a B1, my bad, with the mix of dirt and concrete.
Yeah, those tunnels can be pretty difficult to navigate with the two different surfaces sort of threaded throughout the entire thing. It means that your traction will change drastically. If you're on the inside, the dirt will eventually, with less traction, kind of kick you out onto the concrete, and then you'll have more, and you'll hopefully stick there. If you slide off of the concrete, it means you're going too fast or whatever, and it means if you weren't able to make that turn on concrete, you're definitely not going to make it on the dirt afterwards. So you'll slide out all the way into the wall very quickly. Nice, crazy jump past the pillar. A bit of a rough landing, but I feel like any landing there is something you're going to be happy with.
Yeah, and the tracks kill your engine here, so you have to figure out how to jump correctly. You have indication on where to go, but this one is certainly crazy. If you don't know at all what's happening, maybe Metal isn't, it's hard to figure out for the first time, so I hope they're going to understand the logic behind having multiple options leading to the same exit. Crazy drop here on the dirt. Those turns are very hard to optimize. Low speed dirt is the worst, but obviously crashing into walls is the worst, and that Taker hasn't done even once so far, so they know how to track menu. Absolutely.
We saw both Alnicore and KTH crash into the wall on those dirt and concrete tunnels like we were talking about. They're very, very tricky to navigate. KTH has another one to do here, and he does turn too early, hit the wall. Thankfully, not too bad of a place to lose all your speed when you're right in front of one of those, the arrows, the boosters, the zippers, I don't know what they're called, but Taker is going to be able to hold on, just got a little bit airborne heading into the checkpoint. The checkpoint is a physical object, that big arch. If you hit that thing, you will collide with it, and if you don't go inside the arch, you don't get credit for the checkpoint. So one of the worst things you can do is fly over a checkpoint.
Yeah, or miss it going to the left or to the right on the concrete. Sometimes you have just enough space to thread the needle and not make it. C5 here is a long one with a lot of pillars you don't want to collide into, and you have to aim very well on the jumps and on all the turns to make it correctly. It's a pretty difficult and long one, as all the fives, it's a multi-lap. You have to go for 3 turns, and each turn is about a minute here, so Taker will try to go as cleanly as possible, and the final 2 turns here are fairly precise, and you don't want to go too far to the left or to the right for the final drop, or you will miss entirely the exit and drop to the side. So that takes a lot of time. You have to reset back to the previous checkpoint. But yeah, Taker either knows all the tracks or adapt very, very quickly. I would not be surprised by either of those choices.
I feel like he's got to have played some of these before, you know, maybe not a lot, but at least once, the way he's approaching some of this. So no fear, going full speed through all those pillars. I can't wait to see what happens to some of these other racers when they get to those pillars. I would probably be going about half as fast as Taker is.
Yeah, he's not stopping or slowing down, and they're just keeping their speed and momentum throughout the entire track. Allmaker is on the same track here, and the middle is colliding as well here. And Taker does take those turns so cleanly. Yeah, he has to know the map and the turns.
Allmaker, sure enough, desperately found some path through the pillars, but it was not the one that led the way the track was going, so ended up crashing pretty hard into a wall. Taker is done with the blue that was, right? Moving on to red now?
Yep, that's the final set of 5, entering the final difficulty of our set, red tracks. So harder, longer, and with crazy water bounces a couple of times. It's all for fun, because if you go just straight, you will nail that all the time. Oh, nice, going for a skip. I don't know what they're doing, following the ghost maybe. Crashing on the wall here, sadly losing a lot of time. You have to know how to follow those blue and white arrows here if you don't want to get lost.
I didn't think about that. What a strat it is to pick to race against the gold car, so that it will kind of show you the way on some of these more difficult tracks, and still get you like a decent time if you're behind it.
Yeah, that's actually a smart way, I think, to play those tracks. If you don't know them, either silver or gold, but gold feels faster and you're not going to wait for it too much, but maybe if you're not comfortable, that's what you want to do. Taker is going for the second one here with crazy loops that are not totally complete, so you have to aim for the corner and nails it. It's really precise, because really there's not much matter to support you on those corners. So if you are too far off the right or the left, you will just crash or collide with the structure. Final turn on the grass here. Oh, it doesn't get it. It gets clipped by the corner. Has to be careful.
And just to be clear, there are no like magnets keeping you on these crazy half pipes and loop-to-loops. Like it's just your speed that is letting you stick to these surfaces. So you have to come into these things full speed. There's no taking this safely or cautiously. And it does mean if you're even a little bit off, your car will start to tilt in the air, and then it's not going to land on whatever next surface is smoothly at all. And land too roughly, your car is actually going to flip right over. There is a bit of magnetism going on with keeping your car upright. If you do crash, it will flip over from some pretty ridiculous situations, but it is not so difficult to actually get your car stuck completely upside down, and there's no recovering from that except getting back to checkpoints. So big time loss if that happens, and it's very hard to really control. Once your car starts wobbling, it can be incredibly hard to clutch out the save. Like here with Taker reeling back like a horse as he goes through the checkpoint.
KTH finally finishes C5, and Menelo as well at the start of the red tracks. Allmaker is just trailing behind Taker just a little bit. Menelo crashing immediately at the start of the map, has to start again. You just have to keep going straight here, but Menelo adjusts just a little bit and misses the jump just once again.
Taker is still in the lead by a mile here. Menelo struggles once again with this jump. I wonder if he has the same problem I do. My controller has like a phantom lean to the left just a little bit if I try to leave it neutral sometimes. So I wonder if he's he's fighting something that's preventing his car from going dead straight. It looks like he's finally moving now a little bit on some of this dirt section, but it is Taker who is, I don't know which track this is. I think this is like the 13th. Really, really far ahead, but there's lots of other people in this tournament, and some of them can be very, very good at Trackmania.
Yeah, and don't forget that Mellow secret weapon is upcoming with Mega Man. So it's not done yet. Taker has a lot of leeway with Trackmania here, entering the final track. This is the 05, a very long one and totally symmetrical, so you always can go either to the left or to the right on each turn, and it doesn't matter. You will land and go back to the same end, and it's pretty cool. So it's one of those personality tests. Depending on which trajectory you take, you're maybe more of a Pikachu lover or Charmander, I don't know. And it's pretty funny. But Taker crashes wildly on those dirt concrete mix and gets their final turn, first turn done here. Only 2 to go.
This could be kind of annoying if you were like one of the a really good racer looking to improve their time, so you load up the ghost of the world record or whatever, and it goes the other way, and like you're like, oh, but I practiced already going the other way. Oh man, that's a bit of a shame. But Taker doesn't need it. I'm not sure. Oh, he is behind the ghost, whatever he's. Oh, he's racing against the green metal. So I have a feeling as soon as he hit that one wall, his hopes of catching that guy were pretty slim. But was matching it for most of the first lap. So is definitely knows his way around this track.
Yeah, no hesitation, a nice drift all around. Taker knows how to adapt and react even to maps they haven't practiced too much. Rasta Bobby finished the category first with an in-game time of 13 minutes and 21 seconds. So we are a bit far off the 11:30 for the 15 green tracks, but maybe those tracks are a bit longer as well. So I'm not too surprised with the result.
Yeah, just watching just how long this track is that Taker's on now, just finishing up. Definitely the longest track I've seen so far. That wasn't some on a custom server or anything. Even then, actually, I haven't experienced the crazy epic 10-minute tracks that some people make. The ones where if you accidentally hit the reset button, you just lose. You just don't have enough time to complete it at all.
KTH entering D04, I think. Olniker is already on that track. It starts with a little bump here, turn to the left, turn to the right, and mostly a full speed one on those crazy pathways here. So you have to know where to go, but careful here because you have a loop to go just to catch one single checkpoint, and on that entire slope your engine is killed. So you have to be careful with not hitting the walls and not going too fast on the way back, or you will not make it. So very well done by KTH, while Olniker is looking for the exit here. Multiple ways to go, multiple exits. It's pretty easy to get lost here, and Olniker enters the final track for this category, D05. KTH is right behind them, but a lot of players are done. Quick Class, Devil Tifa, Psychos, and Soggy Toast are already finished.
Some of those names I recognize from the Trackmania leaderboard, so I'm not surprised that they've experimented with any of the other courses and have or maybe just relying on their crazy skill on the ones they have raced before, but definitely not surprised to see them having already finished either way. Olniker has been driving very well, adapting to things for the first time, is now on this incredibly epic symmetric track here into the dirt tunnels and not quite able to hold on. Very, very misleading just how hard you need to slow down and how much care you need to take. Slamming into the pillar in the middle, but just hit the checkpoint. This is still the second lap, so that was not the total reset. That was just a reset back to the checkpoint. Very important to hit the right button in that situation.
So we have the maps summed up by Soggy Toast in chat. A1 to 5 through 5 are nice courses. C1 through 5, a nice challenge, and D1 through 5 is where do I go, which seems to be very, very well summed up, and that's what we're seeing from some of the players. Some of the maps are very confusing. I do encourage the players to try and play through all the other tracks, unlock all the reds and blues. Maybe we'll have some more fun with some more tracks in the near future. But some of the tracks are pretty hard to unlock. You have to get all silvers on all the tracks, and that means, you know, spending a little bit of time with them. If you want to unlock the black tracks, you have to get a gold medal on every other track. Which is a pretty big challenge, especially because of D15. It's a 10 minutes long multi-lap, and a single mistake will kill you entirely.
Yeah, I've been going for green medals on the green courses, of course, to just sort of get my time down for the UD. But I fully intend to go through and get at least gold on all the other tracks. So compared to green, gold seems so ridiculously easy, but you know, I'm still on the easier tracks, so I bet I will find myself eating my words once I go ahead and hit the course that we're seeing some of these other guys driving on. KTH does a really nice turn through the dirt and concrete in that tunnel, and finishes just under 20 minutes real time. They will upload their in-game time to the leaderboard. We'll see how Metalo does here. Is like you said, very well poised to make up a lot of ground on Mega Man, so can afford to eat a couple of points lost here on Trackmania. They are on the third lap, I believe that is, so this should be over pretty soon.
Yeah, this is the end for them. Congratulations to all the players being able to play those tracks blind. Half of the players have finished here. Andy Shipper takes the lead with the 13:29 second best time. Takers gets to the top 3 here, joining class with a 13:34. And Devil defends Soggy Toast, trailing behind just a little bit as well. Medalo submits a 17-minute in-game time, and we're still waiting for Eshikaru, Sack, Mushroom, Little Mai, Olnuker, and Molgames times. Olnuker we've seen finish on stream, so maybe they're just taking their time to submit their final score. We'll see what's going to happen for them. Mega Man is next, and we have a wild variety of things we're able to do, right? We have 6 games to play around. The category in the UD, the regular category, is to kill 10 bosses from Mega Man 1 through 6, so pretty much pick your fastest and favorite. What would you do on Mega Man?
Why limit yourself to 6 games? Why not just give everyone a ROM? They're probably playing with ROMs on emulator. Just have everyone play Mega Man 7 or 8 or 9, or shell out however many dollars it is for all 18 people to play Mega Man 9 or 10 on Xbox 360. I like my idea of banning whatever the top 15 or 20 most popular Robot Masters are. It would be a bit of research, I guess, to figure out what those even are. Some of them are pretty obvious, some of them are less obvious, but I think that would be a fun way to keep them, I guess there's a lot of fun ways you could do it, but that's just the first one that comes to my mind.
It's pretty cool, but I feel like you have too much research to go into to pick the other ones. If you've never played, why would you go for if you're banning Cutman and Gutsman and you've never played Mega Man 1? How do you make your choice? Do you just try and go for trial and error? I think it would be super well suited for a weekly achievement, just to have to play through the category, but with 10 different bosses compared to what you're used to. It's not quite that, but it's pretty close. It plays around the idea of having the players try out and play other games, other bosses on the same games.
I can't wait to see what it is. We're waiting for maybe just a couple last finishers here in Trackmania. We did get Onlooker uploading their time, dropping down a little bit on the leaderboard. It's cool to see Andy Shepard in first. Actually, Andy Shepard is one of those like really well-rounded players who hasn't quite excelled at any one game, and so in the tournaments there's always been like one game that's kind of got them. But here, just their sheer experience with playing all kinds of games has really shined. Currently has the top spot by 6 points. Then a absolute brawl between second, third, and fourth, just 1 point apart from all of them. And then this power gap that seems to appear right around third, fourth, or fifth. There's usually a big drop, and that's where we find another pocket of players in Fireman, Psychouse, and Devil Tifa, who previously was not actually in this small pocket of players. So as we cut away from the leaderboard, we can see something that has me very excited. What am I looking at?
This is a crazy wheel with the 46 bosses from Mega Man 1 through 6. Why do you ask? And we're going to pick the bosses at random. We're going to pick 8 bosses instead of 10. And whatever happens, I guess. This is bad. This is going to be crazy. There is a good force of a quarter of the bosses the players do know, because we play around like 12, and we're going to see what the first boss is going to be, and it's going to land on Flashman. Wow, that's awesome. Oh yes, and super. Actually, that's the easiest and fastest boss a wheel can pick at random, I think.
Yeah, that is. If I had to pick one Robot Master out of all 46, it might actually be Flashman. So, looks like we are going to get more Mega Man 2, but it is not one of the friendlier stages. Heatman has the Yoku blocks over the instant kill lava and pits, so that is going to be a little bit tense for anyone who has not practiced that one.
If you've never played Hitman, this is actually very bad, because it is one of the hardest bosses, and you may get stuck. Third one is going to be Dive Man?
No! Oh no! Oh, this is a tough level, water physics, instant spikes everywhere, and a tough boss fight as well.
I hope the tourney admins are keeping track, because I'm going to forget. But Flashman, Hitman, Dive Man, and Crystal Man.
Oh, there's
Crystal Man I don't remember at all, actually. Mega Man 5 I have the least memories of.
Crystal Man has a ridiculous wrong warp, but that requires the super arrow, so we're not going to see it. I assume we're still doing our resets with the Buster-only strategies. Metal Man is very familiar for most people's routes here.
So that's a third from Mega Man 2 and very well known from the players. That's going to be nice. First one from Mega Man 3 is going to be Gemini Man. That's pretty rough.
That's a hard stage, a long stage with a difficult boss fight. Eventually, Gemini Man splits into 2 men. It's Gemini Men, and if you're not ready for it, that will be a problem, I'm sure. Sometimes I feel like someone is hitting the spin button again when it drifts closer to Mega Man 2 and 1. Someone's like, nope, no, not yet. See?
I don't know what's happening. I'm not. My hands are up there. What's happening?
There's someone attached magnets to Mega Man 2, and the wheel is just repelled, but it's also drawn. Oh no! Has someone this?
I don't know if the wheel is sticking forever or what's happening. But next up is going to be Napple Man. So we had Crystal Man and Napple Man from Mega Man 5. So that's close to 8, isn't it? Nope.
Maybe.
We're still
one
going.
more.
I lost track. One more. So Flashman, Metal Man, and Hitman from Mega Man 2.
Choo Choo. we're boarding the train. Lots of Mega Man 5 here.
Yeah. So Charge Man, which one is it? Gravity Man? No, I forgot already. That's why
not Stone, Napalm and Crystal.
Napalm and Crystal, and from Mega Man 3 we're going to have Gemini Man. So, and Dive Man from Mega Man 4. So 3 from Mega Man 2, 1 from Mega Man 3, 1 from Mega Man 4, and 3 from Mega Man 5. So the players will have to follow the list, being Metal Man, Flash Man, Hitman, Gemini Man, Dive Man, Crystal Man, Napalm Man, and Charge Man. And if you've never played Mega Man 2, good luck beating Hitman, because it is one tough of a level.
I'm literally just gonna open up Notepad and write these down, because I will have no chance of remembering them all otherwise. But you're right. Heatman, like Flash and Metal, people I think are going to have no problem with. I think almost everyone is doing Flash, and many people are doing Metal. And then I think they'll hit Heat. And I think the odds of all 4 players on stream getting through Heatman first try is extremely low. However, I think the odds of someone getting through Heatman first try are extremely high, because one of those 4 players is going to be Metal.
So we have about 40 minutes to play around those bosses. Should be plenty for an experienced runner like Mello. They said on the players chat that they're not super experienced with other games than Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2, and the bosses from the UD category. So I'm not sure how it's going to pan out for them. Metal Man, Flash Man, no problem whatsoever. Gemini Man and Hitman are very, very difficult. Dive Man is not easy as well. And yeah, Mega 3 from Mega Man 5 is going to be a good way from me to remember. You know, as soon as I'm going to see the levels, I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, that was hell.
Gemini Man has some pits over with some rockets that I think come out of those pits, so it's very easy to get hit by one of them and get sort of knocked into it. Napalm I also barely remember at all. Charge I don't think has many pits, just has a giant moving train, which is just fun, honestly. And Gemini is going to be pretty scary. There is a underwater section that is quite laggy, and so making a bunch of jumps on single tile blocks over a instant death pit through lag is pretty mean. During the Mega Man 3 tournament, the Mega Man 46 Robot Masters tournament, Gemini Man, that screen was something that got a number of even very strong players. So Heat, Gemini, Dive, and I think Crystal are going to be the ones players should try to look out for, do their best in. I'm really glad we did not get Needleman, actually.
Yeah.
I was shocked at how difficult that boss fight was, Buster only. I took like 7 or 8 tries at it and didn't get it. Like going in with full health, like pretty sure I know all these patterns, and just not being able to dodge everything that Needleman does. So I think that could have been a real roadblock for some of our players if that wheel had just served them up, Needleman.
Hardest out of the 46 levels for me is Iceman, no contest. Like, that level is impossible. And Needleman is up there as well. Some of the levels from Mega Man 5 and 6 are pretty difficult, but some are super easy as well. Mega Man 4 is pretty forgiving with the levels, but the bosses can be pretty hard, being overall, in my opinion, the hardest of the bunch. Mega Man 4, we're going to see only Dive Man, so we'll see how well the players handle the weird physics.
It's kind of fun seeing Onlookers loaded up Mega Man 1 here, as is normal for this category, but not today. We are not going to be playing Mega Man 1 at all, so is there switched over to Mega Man 2, Taker and KTH waiting here. I'm sure they will pick normal difficulty, no reason to pick difficult. Would drastically change this category, actually, with 3 boss fights in Mega Man 2. Flash, for example, becomes quite difficult when you have to hit, find 7 more shots. You have to be an absolute top tier player in order to kill Flashman before he does that time stop. So very, very good to be able to do some of these Mega Man 2 bosses on normal difficulty.
Yeah. The what's going to kill the players now is not the bosses or the enemies, but the lava and Hitman. Nothing can kill the players in Flashman. I feel like we're not going to see many deaths in that level going like further in UD7, even with weird categories. But knowing that the players are going to maybe be a little bit stressed out with the remaining bosses after Flashman, they will have to go into Hitman. I'm not sure how they're going to handle the surprise. Taker is maybe familiar with Mega Man 2, but the players from the previous UDs that have speedrun Mega Man 2 did speedrun the game with the items, and Hitman is very different if you can zip into the ceilings and pass the Yoku blocks with the item 2.
Yeah, I had to do Mega Man 2 as part of the first Big 20 actually, and it terrified me, but I did learn the Heatman zip, and I absolutely did not do fast air. I went to air first to get the item 2 so I could ride through Heatman stage with that item. Drastically simplifies the most difficult part of that stage, maybe even of the 8 robots we've rolled here today. The players are often in Metal Man first, because that was the wheel dictated, I suppose. Wait, it picked Flash first actually, so maybe it's just chance that everyone has started with Metal.
The order has been set by the admins. Metal Man, Flash Man, Hitman is going to be the order for Mega Man 2, and then we're going to do Mega Man 2, 3, 4, and 5 in that order. Following the wheel would have meant like switching over ROMs, which would have been a pain for the players. So just staying on the same cartridge here is going to be way better. Taker dealing with the fact that the NES sprites blink quite a lot, but they don't disappear as badly on their screen, I think. And almost into the boss fight already is going to go pretty fast for them. And Medalo is just with them entering the what's that? The intermission, the entrance, the threshold.
The boss corridor.
Boss corridor.
I don't know if it has a fancy name. I call it the boss corridor. We're into the boss fight now. Taker fighting from the very far end of the screen. Metalo and KTH opting to be more aggressive. KTH getting right up in Metal Man's face, which is what triggers him to jump to the other side, which has advantages and disadvantages. You know exactly the arc that Metal Man is going to take, so it's not so random whether he's jumping high or low. But there are some spots where you're guaranteed not to be able to hit him while he's high in the air. So it's kind of like a you're not gambling on being able to hit difficult shots. You're just taking a set amount of time loss. Midalo is ignoring the tournament admins here and has gone to Heat before Flash. I don't think we're going to disqualify him for this. It's just we'll just have to keep in mind
as
that
long
the
as
order's
they
different.
do Flashman afterwards,
Right.
it's okay. If they entirely skip the level, oh no, I saw they were like stopping, but you actually have to wait for the Yoku block. You don't have item 3. It's been so long since I've seen a run from Mega Man 2 Buster only. Metal knows exactly what they're doing. They barely got the timing here, and here you can zip just going back, and once again that jump will kill some players. If you don't know exactly the timing, you will pre-shot your jump a bit too early and fall. Usually that's what happens.
Taker is in Flashman. I thought it was going to head all the way over to the E-Tank. It does drop down to the lower half. It's KTH as well, as Metalo is hopping along the heat blocks. Now this is really scary, but there's no tricks here. The Yoku blocks, they can have really tricky patterns. They double back over here, or you need to jump just as it disappears to jump to one that has just appeared. But the really scary part, over the lava, over the pits, it actually is straightforward. Block, this distance in front, here, 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 here. So if you can find the rhythm, you can do it. It's I think probably it's going to catch someone, but I believe everyone's going to be able to find that rhythm.
KTH and Taker starting now. Hitman as Medalo finishes to kill that cute lighter, and instead are going to enter Flashman, and KTH are just jumping over the pits. Hitman doesn't start too bad. If you fall into lava, obviously you're going to die, but if you take a hit and you're not knocked back into the lava, and the iframes actually protect you from burning. So it's pretty okay. Taker is going to be tripped up by the Yoku blocks here, is going to have to adapt and gets it on the second try. KTH, same thing, will have to wait for the pattern and move on. Sadly gets tripped up by the ceiling here, has to wait for the third time, and gets pushed. Meanwhile, Taker is moving on.
It's pretty common for a new player to accidentally zip for the first time with these Yoku blocks against the wall. If you are facing left on this one, for example, that KTH is on, you will zip to the other side and drop straight in that hole and die. So that can be a pretty nasty surprise that feels really bad if it happens. So far, everyone is getting through just okay. Taker has missed the ride here. Does need to double back to get on the roller coaster here. He's going.
Alright, KTH, tough jump here, is going for it and gets it first try, no problem. Taker falls while there's floor here. The floor isn't lava yet. That's pretty good, but you don't have too many options, and you have to backtrack and try again. Medalo is getting surprised here and stuck by Flashman, but they're going to enter the next one first. It's going to be Gemini Man on Mega Man 3.
KTH able to of course skip the first couple sections of the blocks, doing some really scary extra jumps here. And doesn't quite make it. So my grim prediction has come true. But Medalo is done with Mega Man 2, heading on to Gemini Man stage. This is an incredibly difficult screen if you're trying to optimize this. And Medalo is outside of his wheelhouse now. He is incredibly good at every Mega Man, but he has nowhere near the practiced player that he is in Mega Man 2 outside of that game. So knowing exactly where all these enemies are going to be, where he can slide, where he needs to stop and shoot, these things, the only way to get through the screen cleanly is to have all that stuff memorized. So this is going to be a real stop and go rough screen for everyone, and it's only the first part of a very long stage.
This is brutal. Olneker getting stuck on the Yoku block. Taker took a death as well, and has backed all the way to the start here with those flying Mets and the Yoku blocks allowing you to pass those pillars. If you have the crash bombs, you can you can break the blocks, but obviously we don't have any extra weapon in the category. KTH is going to have, gets tripped up by the ceiling here. That's a mean trap because it's right when the lava appears first.
Yeah, the only consolation they have for implementing this evil thing is that it does the exact same pattern just before, so you could somewhat not reasonably, but you might expect that they would do it again. Medalo not quite getting the Proto Man skip here. If you slide onto this screen and jump at the end of the slide, you can get in this hole that appears to not be open, but it will be open, and you can get in there and skip Proto Man coming in. It does mean that the music turns off, and that might seem like a bad or harmless thing, but it actually saves time because the game lags when it has to play the music. So actually saving a good deal of time, more time than the cutscene actually, you will save in lag, as you have to chew through all of these eggs and all of these enemies that pop out of them.
And the music from Mega Man is too strong for the NES, confirmed. Medalo has to dig his way into those tiny blocks here. An enemy appears each time, so you have to be careful not to take too many hits.
Is this doable? I think it's probably doable.
Yeah,
Medalo is...
nice.
Yes, nice.
I didn't know if it was. They didn't want to break the platform. If you break everything, you cannot get stuck on that screen. Takes a hit here. Either they have a very, very good knowledge on what's happening with Mega Man games, or they know the stage. I'm not sure which option is the most likely. And
I'm pretty impressed either way, actually, to be able to implement that kind of the thing heads up, even if you'd seen it before, having the confidence to know immediately, oh, I'm just going to do this, I'm going to turn around, I'm going to get through. Very cool to see.
Meanwhile, we still have the Yoku block dance on KTH and Taker screen. Olniker just falling into a pit here. I'm not surprised that the players get stuck on Hitman. It's a very difficult stage. I hope they don't get like game over on the boss and have to go all the way back again. I'm not sure what the extra lives state is at for those players. Oh no, Middle gets knocked back on those blocks. You don't have the rush, the insane rush, flying rush on that stage. It's pretty difficult now.
Yep, no rush jet or rush marine. Actually, you can sail in the bottom section of the water, and that's a really clean way to get through here. Actually, KTH and Taker did get past the Yoku blocks. They are in the boss fight again. No idea how much health they have, but Heatman, as long as you're playing safe, it's not too easy. He is random. He either takes 30, 60, or 90 frames to charge up before he charges at you. You want to reduce that distance as much as possible if you're really trying to optimize the fight, so you want to stay very close. But he moves so fast that you have to predict when he's going to do his next attack, and since it's random, you end up doing these like little half hops away from Heatman. And then if he does move, you continue the jump all the way through. And if he doesn't, then you double back and land right next to him again, ready for the next breakpoint, the 60 or the 90. And it's a little dance that you have to do that is incredibly hard and only saves a little bit of time. So very happy to see no one trying to do that and just trying to play very cleanly here. Metalo going nuts on Gemini over. Man. Oh, no.
Is it? No, it's not. Okay, they have one extra life. They died at the first screen and they died on the second checkpoint. So they have one to go, and Gemini Man is very hard. I don't remember the pattern, but they're shooting at you while you're shooting. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's possible to do a really sweet shoot left, shoot right, shoot left, shoot right, and like totally lock them down and move on to the second phase of the fight. Looks like Metalo, using his E-Tank, has kind of brute forced his way to the second phase of the fight, and it is a lot more manageable now, just kind of some back and forth and some jumping. Just needs a couple more shots. The laser's out. It's going to start lagging the game. This hurts, but it also helps. It gives you more time to react to what is happening. Just needs one more shot. Nice.
All right. On board with Gemini Man, Taker, and KTH are digging their way into the level here. The boss fights actually looked way harder than I remember, but Buster only means you don't have anything to play around with. Metalo starts Dive Man here with the crazy water physics, and Mega Man 4 is pretty intense all the way around, all the levels, and yeah, you have to be careful with everything that's happening.
Wait, aren't these the same guys from Mega Man 5 in Gravity Man stage, but they're right side up instead of upside down? I think so.
Yeah, they look similar. They're not exactly.
Or maybe it's Starman I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I think
they do have the metal plating. Yeah. They also remind me of those little Metroid mines from Bubble Man stage as well. But this guy is definitely only in this game. This happy little whale. That lags the game like crazy and requires a whole bunch of Buster shots to take out. If you're really good, you can finish him on the way up on one big jump and then continue sailing past him as he dies, but you have to be very confident and know exactly how much health it has, so in this situation, I think we're probably going to see people playing it a lot more safe.
Eddie! Nice friendly companion that drops you...
Uh-oh, KTH is going to have to bust out Rust Coil here. Yep. Okay, good.
Yep, trying to figure out what to do.
Nope, you had it. You gotta give him space. He's very finicky. Alright, sure. Go get more Rush Coil if you want. And if he were to shoot that thing on the way down, that would give him enough... Nice.
That was not easy, but yeah, they... Okay, now they're stuck. They have to shoot. You can shoot Buster shots when you have Rush on screen, correct?
Mm-hmm. You could also use Rush more than once, but I don't know. KTH opted to do it this way. It does finally get through.
Taker is a little bit ahead, but the top screen has passed, so they're entering the boss, being very careful. They know the door is here. They don't want to stop or die. And Gemini Man starts. If they don't know exactly how to react, they may die a couple of times here. Choosing to...
Ooh.
Wow, the eating directly is a tough decision, tough call.
This is pretty risky. We'll see. There's still a lot of health left. Gemini Man still does a lot of damage. Has figured out that they attack when he attacks, so he is using that he's trying to use that to his advantage. Okay, it is doable from here on out, but he doesn't know the pattern. He's gonna get cornered here. He missed his opportunity to get under Gemini Man, so he does get jumped on, and now he doesn't have that E-tank. That is incredibly important to get through this first phase.
They are full HP though, so that's okay. They figured out the pattern. If they don't jump too early, they are not going to land on the second Gemini, but they are going to land on the shot. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. What's happening? All right, that's better. Early shot.
Oh,
double
here's
jump.
the loop. Here's the loop.
Early jump.
Oh,
double.
it's easy.
Yes.
He's got it.
Alright, so now they have to understand that Gemini Man jumps when they're shooting, and you can sneak under it. Careful with the lasers.
Except sometimes he just shoots you in the face with a laser.
Oh, that's a minor detail.
Oh, okay, wait.
Oh no!
One more hit will kill him.
Okay,
oh,
it's not that minor.
Still has an extra life, and you're right. That is a very major laser. KTH heading into the boss fight now as well does not have the knowledge that Taker has on how to approach this fight, so we'll see how long it takes them to kind of figure it out. Because if you're just mashing like crazy, then Gemini Man mashes like crazy, and it feels like an impossible feat. So is just getting completely hammered here. Oh, has slowed it down a little bit. Yeah, they figured it out.
Nice. This is a crazy sight with 4 Gemini Man jumping over. Taker is on the second phase and they're almost full HP. Well, half HP now, but 3 shots, 2 shots, 1 shot, and it's dead. Onlooker was on Hitman and died and did not have any life remaining, so I have to go through the stage all over again, sadly. And Mellow game over on Diveman, I guess, because they're back at the start of the stage.
Yeah, well, there are 2 whales, but you're right. It definitely was a game over in there somewhere. Is very low on life. Has been relying on taking a lot of hits to get past instant death spikes throughout this stage, so they're not going to have that option anymore. And look at how slow Medalo is playing to try to get around these things. There's not a good way around them. This is very tricky. Does just kind of half give up there and jump up into that thing. KTH gets hit by this laser, is going to be able to hide in the corner. Is he going to be able to get all the shots he needs before Gemini Man comes back? I don't know. It's going to be incredibly close.
Nice.
Wow.
The race.
Wow. Okay.
Dive Mine stage is very reminiscent of Octopold from Mega Man X, actually. It's obviously NES and not SNES, but I don't know, it has that weird vibe with enemies, spikes, and water into it. Way more than Bubble Man, for example. Taker is actually passed Metal. That's a big surprise. We were all expecting Metal to do awesome on Mega Man and not getting stuck on a single stage, but Taker is moving on. Mega Man sometimes is a game that is not super explicit with holes. You can fall into some of them and not in the others, but if you have no choice, you should commit and try it and see if that was a correct way.
Yeah, I think it's here in Dive Man stage where there is a hole you can go into that it looks like you can't, and that's where you get the wire upgrade, which is I think it's this hole actually. Oh, Taker's going.
Nice.
Did he know or did he slip? I'm not sure, but has to complete this fall here. This is some VVV style stuff actually. Gonna be picking up the world's
they had to know,
stupidest, worthless Mega Man upgrade.
Is it better or worse than the balloon?
Much worse, much worse. The balloon you can stand on it. You can use it you can put it in walls and jump on it before it disappears and ascend vertically very quickly. The wire just goes straight up. You have to stand completely still while it happens, and it will latch onto something and then pull you straight up. and you don't get to like jump off of it either. So unless you're right next to a platform, it's pretty useless.
It's a bad grappling hook. Got it. Dive Man
It's horrible.
starts for a Mellow. Taker is a little bit away from that, and Dive Man dashes at you super quickly. So if you're not ready, you're going to die. But the bosses from Mega Man 4 have all very few patterns. So if you understood the idea behind it, you can perfect them. Sadly, in Mega Man 4, that health bar from the bosses fills up so slowly. It's a pain.
Alright, has a very troublesome missile that doesn't blow up when it hits you, actually, so got totally zoned out by the missile and Dive Man's body. Could have landed safely on the left side, but very likely another charge was going to come out from Dive Man, so tried to do something about it, didn't work out. Has at least one more try, and I think probably only one more try. Does Metalo. Has a better idea of how this dive projectile works, understands the further away they are from Dive Man, the further Dive Man will travel, which is, probably not what you're looking for in a speed run, but certainly gives you a lot more time to react to everything that's on the screen, and has definitely seen that you can shoot these missiles, but wasn't quite able to make it happen on this attempt. We'll see. Is this indeed a game over?
Yep.
It is.
Sadly, they have to go all the way over again. Taker enters Dive Man. If they jump immediately, that means they know the stage. You cannot. I think the first time you enter Dive Man Arena, you are going to get hit. Or not.
Oh, Taker does it.
Okay.
Second time. Yeah, the first time he, was all the way across the screen, so he was like, whoa, okay. And then the second time was still in the air because he did a gigantic jump. By the time he came down, the second dive was already on the way. So now understands not only does the dive move quickly, but there's not a lot of downtime afterwards.
Alright, missiles you can destroy, which is very useful to know. If you don't know that, you are going to die to it. The charges are very fast. Taker does a good job here at staying alive. And you jump so slowly in the water. But yeah, they're winning the damage race here. And
It's
nice.
very well done.
Next up is... I forgot. Where's my...
We're on to either Napalm Crystal or Charge. I'm actually not sure which it is going to be. It looks like Taker was a little unsure which it was going to be as well, looking for which corner the Robot Master is in. On my splits for my route, I have little arrows pointing to where the Robot Master is on the screen, because I can never remember.
Is that not assisted speedrun? Alright, KTH has to figure out that you can destroy those missiles or they will die. Okay, they know.
They're just in a tough situation here. That you jump over the dive attack, and then if you jump too high, you're in the air when you really want to be on the ground shooting. And here are the crystals over the pits that I was talking about. A death waiting to happen. Claims Taker very early on. This is going to be a bit of a marathon instead of a sprint. Metalo is still in Dive Man here. Still potential for a comeback, I think.
We still have a lot of time to go, and the players are making good progress though. 3 bosses remains for Taker. KTH will eventually kill Dive Man. It's a slow process, but if they manage to dodge those charges, they will be just fine.
Nice job sliding away from Dive Man to have him stop where you were previously standing. Reminds me of the DDD fight, actually, in Kirby's Dream Land. Served KTH very well there, was able to find a purchase on the right side of the screen to get that kill. Metalo gets killed instead, but I think this was a first attempt on this playthrough, so that was probably like a low health situation.
Yeah,
we'll see how they do on this this next real attempt here.
Alright, first charge shot, and then trying to dodge those missiles. Alright, nice. They're expecting a charge all the time, jumping a bit preemptively, and suddenly that's killing them. Oh, yeah. Everything does deal so much damage. Why is that?
Yeah, it's really not fair. It's like 5 or 6 hits. KTH getting caught by those crystals, getting knocked into the pit as well, like we saw from Taker. I bet everyone is probably going to do this at least once. but then hopefully only once. We'll see Taker seeing some of these shielded jet guys that turn around and kind of expose themselves. I didn't realize I think they're in like 3 different Mega Man games. Not a lot of enemies cross over from game to game.
Those are at least in Mega Man 3, 4, and 5 apparently. I don't remember.
In 6.
In 6 as well?
In Blizzard Man stage, yeah.
I know they're in Skullman, in Mega Man 4. So yeah, it's multiple levels, like the Mets, and very few others actually.
Got a question in chat, how the Ultimate Decathlon works. Basically, the 10 games and the categories are delivered to all the players, and everyone just kind of starts playing them. They can upload times to the leaderboards. They can race against each other and upload those race times to the leaderboards. And we've been doing a number of tournaments throughout the season, like this one, where everyone comes out and competes. Likely only playing each game once. In a couple of cases, we were playing a game more than once. But you just do one race or a series of races. You score points based off of your times, and then those points are added together to determine the winner. So it's not yet revealed or maybe decided how players will qualify for grand finals at the end of the season. But it might have something to do with your performance on the leaderboards throughout the season, how you do in various tournaments. There might be qualifying tournaments, as there was for all season 6. But it really is kind of a unique, special blend of a couple things that you might be more familiar with, like, say, the Big 20 races or some of the speedrunning leagues that are starting to pop up.
Yeah, finally, Crystalman is done. Yeah, so far we're never seeing 10 games in a row, which is confusing for a decathlon, but it's upcoming later in March, I think, in the final weekend of the 30th and 31st. We're going to have our first 10 games in a row live, so the players will have the opportunity to show how much they've learned and improved in the past 2 months. KTH is still on that screen, and they've not figured out if there's a pattern or if it's random, so they're taking their time, trying to jump from pillar to pillar. Thank God there's no crystal falling on you while you're on the pillar, so that would be literally impossible. Taker
has discovered the spike thing that will instantly kill you. Can be destroyed, actually. I'm not sure with the Buster just how hard you need to mash to take that thing out. Yeah, KTH is now just kind of taking the moment to build up a charge before they head back into those spikes, I think.
Alright. Arguably one of the weirdest design from the entire Mega Man series, Napalm Man, is a tough stage. And yeah, if you don't destroy those things, you are going to die a couple of times. But Taker has figured it out, so he's moving on. And Mega Man has that very wide Charge Buster hitbox, which is always awesome to see.
Metalo has died again to Dive Man, was the first person to reach this stage by a long shot, and is looking like they're not going to be the last one to leave this stage, but if they keep it up, just maybe. Taker slips off the water here in Napalm Man stage. Yeah, there's Plant Man is also like a jungle stage, but this is the first appearance of such a lush environment with cliffs, canyons, tigers, palm trees, waterfalls, indoor cave sections. It's a very adventurous level.
The water has the same physics from the Toadman stage here in Tripped Up Taker. It's actually like more like a conveyor belt. It pushes you forward, and the platform is tricky because as soon as the platform ends, there's no extra gap, no extra room, and it's always a bit weird to see the water extend so much of it. So Taker was caught up by surprise here and sadly died. But they're taking quite a beating here, but still moving on. KTH is on the Crystal Man fight, and Metallo is halfway through Dive Man again, not able to make much more progress. Onlooker is on Gemini Man stage here. I don't know if they've seen the boss yet, but they will have to go through that gauntlet in a bit. Time submissions for UD7 are closed very late, actually. You still have 2 months to learn, play, and submit times. You still can register on the website and submit all your times. For most of the games, you have speedrun.com categories that you can follow, learn from, and take like a good come in the Discord and learn all the categories and all the runs from the players, so it's never too late to join in. Obviously, the players that are playing the games, that have been playing the games for the past 2 months, are going to have a good lead. But we've seen some players join later this season and actually have very, very good results, like Ghostdeath during UD6. And Ghostdeath did not make the same mistake during UD7 and actually join in immediately, but Super Lingard joined late UD6 as well and was actually in the grand finals, so it's up to you depending on your motivation and your will to learn 10 very different games.
KTH has defeated Crystal Man and is moving on to Napalm, is one stage behind Taker, who is getting hit by these missiles coming out of the ground here. There's a power-up that will very nicely take care of them in Gravity Man, but Buster only, they're just kind of a big pain in the butt here. Taker is paranoid that one is going to pop out and get him before he gets into the boss corridor, but he has now. We'll see. He was just taking stock of his situation. I don't think Rush Coil is going to help here in Napalm Man. Napalm Man has these missiles and also has some arced explosions here with really big hitboxes, so they also lag when they explode, and they have the exact same explosion as Mega Man, actually, the same little wibbly wobbly white circles, so a fitting attack to be destroyed by. We'll see how it goes for Taker's second try here.
It's very hard to master a Mega Man stage in boss so quickly. You just don't have the time to react when you are obsessed by the timer. When you're in a race, Mega Man's are very difficult games to blind race. And Taker is doing a great job here, dodging barely all the attacks, and wow, taking that one right to the chin. And you never want to be too far off the bosses from Mega Man. They usually jump on you, and Taker does a great job at killing Napalm Man. Here is going on to Charge Man. It's going to be the 8th and final one for this evening.
Onlooker game overed again in Gemini, and took a death on the first screen on the next attempt and immediately reset. And I thought this was, didn't want to go into it. Yeah, okay. Didn't want to go into it with down a life so early. Understands that they're going to probably need a couple of lives to get through it, so is gonna reset and take a minor time loss now rather than a potential major time loss if they game over later on. So they lingered on the title screen for a bit, so I was worried that maybe they had lost hope a little bit, but they are back in it. And I don't know, we've got some time here, so maybe Onlooker can make it before we finish up our broadcast, but certainly there are some people who look like they will. KTH and Taker are both doing extremely well. Metallo is still on this Dive Man fight, is doing a little bit better of not jumping so high, but needs to shoot these missiles, needs to stay on the ground and shoot those rather than jump into the air. As soon as you get airborne and those missiles come out, they come up after you, they're no longer flush with the ground, they're very difficult to hit. Things get bad very quickly, so another death for Metallo in this stage.
It's so weird to see them stuck on the stage like that. They know how to navigate it, they know how to play the game, but they haven't quite figured out the patterns and how to deal with those missiles, so they still get shot. And if there's one missile following you around, the fight is actually very, very difficult. But they're always expecting charges, and as soon as the missiles come up, they're jumping and actually making it move and harder to hit. So I hope they have better success here. It looks like they're losing the DPS race, but having good shots here, dodging the fight while Taker is on the crazy train here, all aboard for Chargeman stage. And in the middle dies.
I like that Chargeman is literally just a big choo-choo man with a big train stage. It's a lot of fun. I should have asked Taker who he dedicated his chicken room to. Actually, that was a thing before that I don't think is going to play. If I were to just approach him before the race and ask him about the chickens, he would probably be pretty confused. But he's here with Chargeman. Chargeman is normally weak to the Power Stone, so it is actually a very difficult fight to execute on properly. But even with the Buster here, it's not so easy to get your shots. He's very pesky, has a very big hitbox, and tends to do this thing that Mega Man bosses do, where they just try to walk into you, and it's one of the hardest things to deal with.
Yeah, everybody is so obsessed with touching and getting close to Mega Man, jumping off you, charging at you. Everybody wants to get a piece of Mega Man, and contact damage is huge in those games as well. It's some of the things that takes the most HP at once. Taker finishes quickly in 35 minutes here, and I think they're first to beat the category. I'm not sure, but Taker, they're the first, and they were doing quite well so far, being third before Mega Man, and I think nobody is going to be able to beat them from that first place here.
Yeah, they're certainly not the people on stream, obviously, but there's, I don't know, maybe Devil Tifa would have a pretty good shot. I haven't loaded up the race actually to check and spy and see if anyone has finished just yet. I think Taker is the only done I see so far, so is indeed the first to finish this surprisingly difficult category. There is nothing different about this category compared to the main one, except that you just have to do these stages that you aren't familiar with. So you know all the tools that you have. You just need to put them to work. And honestly, 35 minutes, like my first runs for the Mega Man category, doing the stages, exactly the stages I wanted, my blind time was like over an hour. So this 35-minute time from Taker is quite good. He's just going to Needleman now. He's just showing off.
Onlooker on that very difficult section here. All those blocks, and I hope they're not going to be pushed off into the abyss like I think Middle died this way.
Oh! Yeah, I caught it.
Oh.
I caught one frame that looked really bad, and then one frame that was definitely bad, and now Onlooker has been dunked in the water here and just reset actually. Figured they needed more lives for the Gemini Man fight, I suppose. Didn't even want to that, or a game over screen popped up that I didn't even see because he reset so fast. Either way, is back into it. KTH on the final boss of the goal here, and this tournament, this whole tournament with the fun, different, the twist on each game to make it a little different, a little more difficult. This is one of a number of fun side events that we do just to keep things fun, honestly. I think it's just a lot of fun to do stuff like this.
It's just for, we have 10 games, we have a lot of players, and the opportunity to do fun things. And it keeps things fresh if you're grinding on 10 games all day, every day. Having a good opportunity and a good reason to do something else is always a nice thing. I think Metal snapped. They went to Woodman. They could not stand and deal with Diveman anymore, and I totally understand them. If they want to forfeit after being stuck for so long on a single level, that's totally understandable. Onlooker is back at the start here, and KTH is done with the level.
Onlooker's watching the Proto Man cutscene here, as Taker is into what might be one of the hardest boss fights in the entire 46 Robot Masters. Needleman is fairly unpredictable. His needles come out incredibly quickly. They come out in a set of 4 that can take so many different angles that they will very easily find you. And he does a ton of contact damage, does even more damage if he hits you with the needle on his head. Part of the strategy is to stay kind of close. I think that makes him more likely to try to hit you with the top of his head, and that is, a more easily dodged attack. But it is just, there's no winning this fight. It just feels he just has so much health. It's not fair.
It's pretty bad. It's been theorized that it's actually worth doing if you are insanely good at Mega Man. You can make it worth it doing in the UD category, but yeah, it's one of the bosses that actually do the least contact damage. If he just jumps on you, if he touches you with your head, he's going to take off a good quarter of your HP. But if he just jumps on you, it's not too bad. And sometimes, yeah, you can get him stuck in a loop if you're very close to it. But overall, it's just not possible. I love the design though; it's one of the cutest bosses out there.
Oh, that's the worst distance, when he's got you in the corner, but you're still within range of the needle head. Yeah, it is a very difficult fight. He has that classic Mega Man move where he jumps across the room, and it is just so hard to deal with. Onlooker is pulling out the Rush Coil. I think it is worth switching back. You could keep Rush Coil out, and just every time you shoot, Rush Coil teleports in, and might actually find a place to stand, and if he does, then whatever, you can just leave him. It's a little cruel, but that it is faster in some cases to just keep Rush Coil equipped. But if you're taking each section slowly, Rush being there is probably going to add a bunch of lag, and you also only get 2 shots instead of 3 out on the screen at once. So unless you're very close to everything you're fighting, which is very risky, that will also hurt you a little bit as well.
Onlooker is back at the start here.
For Mega Man 1 in the category, you just need the boss to explode. You don't need to actually grab the thing that appears.
Yeah, you just have to have the boss have no HP and explode. If you die at the same time, it's okay, you can move on. We consider the boss dead, and your mission is complete. Mega Man is completely expendable in the UD category. We don't care about them. It's not, progressing. It's not increasing in skills or weapons or items. It's just, up there. We drop Mega Man just to do one mission. It's to kill the boss and then move on. Maybe we are actually playing different Mega Mans as we move on. Onlooker is keeping on resetting if they don't reach the checkpoint, which is totally just understandable. But sadly, it's we don't have any more time. What's up on Speed Gaming on the schedule right after this?
Nothing right after this. We do have 1 hour gap, so you can go get your food, or maybe start sign up, make an account on the Ultime Decathlon website and check that out. Maybe start downloading the pack that you can use to get started. But at 6 p.m. Speed Gaming will fire back up with some Wind Waker Randomizer, Donkey Kong Country 3 a little later on, Super Mario Bros. 3 Randomizer, and because it is Wednesday, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Eastern Daylight Time. So if you are European, this is 1 hour. It's +5 now, so it is 1 a.m. So if you're a bit of a night owl, you can check out Magic the Gathering Arena. Team Instant Speed has been playing some Magic the Gathering here on Speed Gaming. They play each other with some decks. They do some drafting and kind of all make decisions on what cards they pick. Skybills, who is one of the people who made the list for the Mythic Invitational, is on Team Instant Speed as well, so kind of leading the way a little bit. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So you can check that out later tonight. And if you want to see any of that other stuff I said, go ahead and check the schedule, !schedule in chat, and you can get your Speed Gaming fix.
So, no surprise, but Taker takes the lead with a fantastic 35-minute time on Mega Man. The category for today was to play randomly picked 8 bosses, and the draft was pretty rough. The Taker has done a fantastic job. Andy Shepard hates Mega Man. They don't like the series, they don't like the games, but they've practiced and they've tried everything out to figure out the best route for them on the Mega Man category for UD7, and it paid out weirdly for them today, and they beat the random draft in sub 40 minutes, meaning they take the second place here, beating Devil Tifa and KTH. They both finished Mega Man in 38 minutes, and 6 seconds for Devil Tifa and 8 seconds for KTH. So very well done. And that's it. Only 4 players beat the category on time, sadly. Maybe some players are still going, but that was a rough one. The difficulty was twisted and increased by quite a lot. So Carefree Quick Class, Fireman, Psychos, Mellow has done a great job at playing Neo Turf Masters and Trackmania too, but sadly they're still stuck on Mega Man, maybe for a while.
Yeah, Heat, Gemini, and Dive made me nervous when those popped up, and it seems I was right. It was cool that everyone managed to deal with Napalm, Crystal, and Charge. You know, of the players we saw who got to those stages, they weren't a major hurdle, despite being in Mega Man 5 games, which are a little more difficult to optimize. You've got the sliding and the charging, so a little more complex, but were handled very well. It's a shame we didn't get to see Devil Tifa and KTH side by side, finishing just 2 seconds apart. And also Devil Tifa, you know, just hungry for stars, just greedily gobbling them all up, has edged out KTH here out of the top 3. But Andy Shepard walking away with that silver star has got to be pretty happy about that. I hope everyone enjoyed the fun twists here today, even if Mega Man can be a little frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, I think the players seems to have fun if they beat the game in sub 40 minutes. That seems to be okay. But apparently for Quick Class and Mellow, it was not so fun. It was pretty rough. Dive Man was very hard on Mellow, and just Hitman. If you're not ready, it's a real tough one. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We're coming back on Saturday for some more classic categories on the Messenger, VVV, and out there somewhere. The players will show up their skill, and we'll be back soon.